Pushkin.
Chino Moreno is the lead singer of Deftones, the Sacramento band experiencing a resurgence as a new generation discovers their 90s hits on social media. This year, Deftones have been selling out arenas while putting the finishing touches on their latest album, Private Music. During the recording sessions, guitarist Stephan Carpenter's health took a turn when he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Chino stepped in to handle more of the guitar parts, approaching the album with newfound clarity after getting sober. On today's episode, Leah Rose talks with Chino about the band's early days living with their late bassist, Cheng. He reflects on the story of their Around the Fur album cover and shares his post-show ritual, which often includes winding down with rom-coms and his tour bus bunk. This is Broken Record. Real musicians, real conversations. Here's Leah Rose with Chino Moreno.
I was just listening to Private Music and I was curious, like the album starts so hard, so fast. It's got like that sludgy riff right off the top. Like how important is that first like 3 seconds when you're sequencing the album?
It's pretty important. I mean, when we wrote that song, I kind of knew right away that I wanted that to be the first song on the record. Because I think like you said, it's kind of this bombastic sort of sludgy riff that,
yeah.
And I loved Abe's drumming on the song. I think it's really creative what he does in the verses and the staccato intro as well. It's just like, it kind of has a lot of elements that we're sort of known for. So it's familiar, I think, in the beginning for be the first thing to introduce the record. But I also think it's powerful. And then the just, you know, the song itself sort of has this like just great introductory feel, I think, to, you know, like what's to come.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is that we wrote the record in different sessions, like just getting together playing. One we did in the desert, which was we probably wrote like 5 or 6 songs there. Went to Shangri-La, did about another 5 or 6 songs, wrote them there. Didn't record anything there, but recorded what we were doing, but it wasn't the actual, you know, recording. We went actually after that, we tracked it. So when we started tracking it though, I already had a sequence in mind once we added the songs. So we actually tracked the album in the sequence of the record, which was kind of cool. So that's something that I kind of like figured out early. Like I really had this mindset of like creating a album, the kind of that started in one place, went somewhere and ended somewhere. I kind of like that idea of doing that.
Yeah. Have you guys ever done like a hidden track or anything like that? Like any like special?
Yeah, we did. That was like real popular in the 90s, I think.
Yes.
On CDs. So we had one on our second record, Around the Fur. And it was pretty funny because it's like, it has to be a part of the last song on the record. So the last song on the record, it being like 30 something minutes long or whatever. Because we had like, there was like a 20 minutes like break of silence. It's pretty funny. We had, that was back when answering machines were still, people still had answering machines in their apartments or whatever. So we were staying in this apartment in Seattle where we were recording. And Stefan, Abe, and myself shared an apartment. So we had our answering machine and our, it was attached also to the intercom too. So like when friends came over, they'd press the intercom to call us and then they'd leave messages from either downstairs in the, you know, in the intercom to our answer machine, or if someone called, whatever. But we had our greeting on there was like super funny. Like it was like Stefan was like taking a bong hit and like, you know, call us back, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. We're not. But we actually took that tape and we put that on there so that our little message thing was on as part of the hidden track. And then like a couple minutes later, a bonus song pops in out of nowhere.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I remember Alanis Morissette had one of those and it came in like 20 minutes after. So if like you left the CD on.
Yeah, totally.
Just like all of a sudden it would start playing. You were like, whoa, who is that?
What was that? Was that on the Jagged Little Pill album?
Yeah.
That was a great record. I mean, it's crazy because that was also Maverick Records, which was where we were at the time.
Oh,
so
right.
Our records came out pretty close to each other, our first record and her record. Yeah, we had a kind of a close thing with that record. Yeah.
Okay, that's so cool. Yeah, that was an awesome era.
Yeah.
So speaking of you guys living together, I know that I think like right after, or maybe while you were still in high school, you lived with Chi, right?
Yep, right out of my parents' house. I was still 17. I kind of just stopped going to school. I was a senior, quote unquote senior. The normal high school I went to and ended up going to a continuation high school, which is like sort of just where you go and make up credits and whatever, still get a diploma, but you like, you know, you just kind of do textbook work. There's not really teachers in there teaching. You're just kind of like going through textbooks and whatever. But we started playing shows actually, and we started taking little trips from Sacramento to like Oakland and San Francisco and just like the outskirts of a town and playing shows. So we'd get back from playing shows like, you know, 3 a.m, and then I would just like end up staying over at Cheese House, and then I'd wake up in the morning and be like, I'm not going to school today. Like I kind of already had my mind made up that like, you know, not that I would be successful with the band, but like I just was like, that was kind of like my priority. And my parents were supportive. I mean, they were bummed, I think, that I like stopped going to school, but they were also a little preoccupied. My parents were actually going through divorce at that time too. So it was like, I kind of slipped through the cracks a little bit where like,
Yeah.
normally my parents were pretty strict about stuff, but like they were kind of dealing with their own things. So like I kind of just like was able to do what I wanted for the most part.
Wow.
And they were really like checking up on me, like, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you doing this? Or whatever. So in a way, it was kind of, I guess, I got lucky in a way because I got just dive deep into music as opposed to like trying to do school and that.
Yeah.
I was able to really like focus on music stuff, but it was weird, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, you know, I was still kind of, it was a bummer, you know what I mean? I was like one of the only kids at that point. I had a lot of friends whose parents were divorced, like when you grow up, whatever. And I was always so proud, like my parents are still married, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
And then, right, like, you know, senior year of high school, they get divorced.
It wasn't like something you saw coming.
Not really, no.
Oh.
Yeah, bummer.
Yeah. Did you guys sound like Deftones in the beginning? Like when the band first started playing together, like what did you sound like?
I think, yeah, some of the DNA is there. I mean, obviously we were trying to figure out how to play our own instruments. I was emulating a lot of what I liked. So like,
Yeah.
you know, some songs I would try to sound like Morrissey and sound like Danzig, and like those things don't match. But like in a way, like I kind of came up with my own sound maybe because those things don't match. And I just liked what I liked, and I was just taking influence from the things that I like enjoyed.
Yeah.
Also, like I listened to a lot of rap music back then. So I used to like to try to rap as well. And to me, I didn't think it was that weird to like put like rhythmic singing over some of the stuff, whatever. My lyrics weren't really like, I guess, rap oriented lyrics where I wasn't like, you know, talking about things that I didn't really do. But
Yeah.
I think just the format of like the cadences and things like that were inspiring to me. So I put like all those things together.
Yeah.
Screaming from like I loved Pantera and Bad Brains and so like just I guess all those little elements, whatever, I was just kind of, you know, emulating maybe each one at certain points like a little bit more like where you can really tell, oh, he's trying to do this. And I think over the time I've been able to like, I guess, find myself within all those things and kind of have my own voice, I guess. I hope.
Yeah. When did you find your voice? Like when do you feel like you were squarely standing in your own sound?
I mean, it would probably be, I think, definitely after our first record, because our first record is still hard for me to listen to because I can hear like myself not being confident and not really knowing what I was doing. I mean, I was so nervous on our first record that I didn't even write a lot of lyrics. Like a lot of it's just like freestyling syllables and whatever. Like, and then, so like if you notice like inside there's not lyrics in the record. There's some scribbled notes of me that I wrote, whatever. So there's some words in there, but like some of it's not because I was so scared to commit to like what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Just kind of like used my voice as an instrument more.
Yeah.
So that record's hard for me to listen to because I can see exactly where I was, whatever, just kind of not non-confident, like sort of still figuring it out. Whereas maybe our second record, I think, you know, touring a lot from our first record and just kind of like actually getting the opportunity to make a second record, which a lot of bands don't even get that chance, right? We got signed to a pretty big label and you know, we didn't sell anything close to like what Atlantis sold, right? So who's our label mate. So like, I mean, honestly, that probably helped because I think our label was making so much money from Atlantis, that like they probably lost a lot of money on our first record, but allowed us to go and make a second record. Really, honestly.
Did you have to like show and prove at that point to the label? Like, was there anything that you had to, in a way, promise them that we're going to bring next time to make the next album do even better?
I don't think that there was really ever that discussion, but I think within ourselves, I think we wanted to. I know I wanted to show and prove like, wow, we can do so much better because even after our first record was done, I knew that it wasn't as good as the band that we were becoming. So with the second record, I really think that we made a statement. I think it's probably still one of our strongest records to this date. And then after that, we made the White Pony record, which was a pretty big left turn to like where music was sort of at that point where like a lot of new metal music, what they were calling it at the time, which I guess they still call it that, but it was like kind of pop, like on the radio all day long. And we steered like far left of that and made the White Pony album. And the label wasn't actually really that stoked on it because of that, but they did support us a lot because they knew that it was still a good record. And honestly, that was probably one of the best decisions we ever made doing that, because I think it helped with our longevity for sure.
How hands-on was Madonna with the label? Because it was her label, right? Like,
Yes.
Was she involved with like the artist's sound? Would she sort of be in like an executive producer position? Did you have any conversations with her, like creative conversations about what you were putting out?
No, you know what? No, not really. And I can only speak for us. Maybe she did with some other artists, but I mean, I remember the first time that when we very first got signed, I went to the office and I didn't even know she was there. I went to go sit in my A&R's office, the guy who signed us, his name's Guy. And I was sitting talking to him and like staring at like, face to face with him. The door's behind me and the door opens and he starts talking to her. I just hear a female voice and I look over and I look up and it's her. And then he's like, oh, this is our new artist, blah, blah, blah. And I was just freaking out because as like the 10-year-old in myself was just like, oh my God. And then she ended up coming to a few of our shows. And like I remember one time we were backstage and we were about to go on stage and she was like looking me up and down. She's like, are you going to get ready? I looked down at my clothes. I was like, yeah, I'm ready. She's like, that's what you're going to wear? And I think I just had a pair of like Dickies and a t-shirt or something on, whatever. And she was like, that's what you're going to wear? Like, kind of like, and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And she's like, come here. And then she like helped me, like pulled my pants up a little bit, like helped me fix my belt and whatever. And it was just like, this is like surreal right now. But those kind of things are like, like a story that I can tell today that still like brings joy to me.
Totally. So I was going to ask you about like back when we were talking about you living with Chi, since you've known the guys for so long, I feel like you can tell a lot about a person by the way their bedroom is. Mm-hmm. Do you remember like growing up what people's bedrooms were like?
I totally do. Yeah.
Like Abe's or Chi or...
Yes, Abe. I mean, so Abe, I'll use Abe as an example because this is great. I went to Abe's house for the first time. I think we were in 7th, maybe 8th grade. We were in junior high school. And I go to his house after school, a skateboard over there, and I go into his room. He's got a little tiny room. I mean, it's, pretty small, but his drum set takes up his whole room. And it was his dad's drum set. His dad passed away when he was a couple years before that, actually. And he was in a band. He inherited the drum set from him. And he had, so his room was just the drum set. And then he had a little tiny, like, mattress on the, like in the corner, like where he slept. I don't even know if it was a mattress. I want to say it was just like blankets or a sleeping bag, whatever, but he sacrificed his like comfort. So it was like his room was just like his drum set. Wow. And then back then that's when we had cassettes. So we had a whole wall of just like cassettes and a lot of like dub cassettes, because that's what we used to do back in the day, like dub cassettes, and then like do our own artwork on them, whatever. So whole wall of cassettes, so I was just enamored by his cassette collection. And it's just music. Like his music ruled his life. So like that was his little world, right? That was awesome. Now Cheese. So we shared a bedroom when I moved in. It was a 1-bedroom apartment that we lived in. And he lived in there actually with his girlfriend at the time when I would go stay the night over there. And then him and his girlfriend broke up. And it could have had something to do with that. I was always asleep on the couch in the other room, whatever. But she was probably like, it's either him or me or kind of thing, whatever. Right, but she ended up moving out. And then, so I moved in officially. And then we both shared rooms. So we had 2 like twin mattresses on each side of the room. But our room was a fucking mess. I mean, our whole apartment was, but it was like college life. And it was actually on the college campus because he still went to school. The deal was his dad would pay half the rent as long as he was in school.
Oh, nice.
So his dad paid half the rent, and then Chi and I split the other half what the rent was. So it was like the rent was like nothing. It was like $150 a month. And it was in an apartment on kind of off campus, Sac State University. Nice. And I worked at the dining commons there, like where they serve the kids in the dorms their lunches and dinners, whatever, the dining hall, whatever. So
you could take food?
Yes. So we used to like come home with food.
Yeah.
That's how we lived. But it was mostly just like beer. We just drank beer and like He's a couple years older than me, than the rest of us actually. So he was old enough to buy beer at that point. I was still young, and he might not even been 21 yet. But there was a store across the street that we could buy beer from. So like,
Yeah.
and it was cheap beer, like the cheapest beer you can buy. So like our whole balcony was just full of beer cans, and it was like a total like, I don't know, I guess what I would expect a frat house to kind of be
Right.
like. It was just like us two, and then all our friends were there all the time.
The
Yeah.
hangout spot.
It was just a hangout spot, yeah. But it was awesome. Yeah.
So you must have been over high school. Like, I don't know, you seem like you were beyond high school at that point. Like, I know you were going to
Yeah.
the continuation school, but mentally
Yeah.
it seems like you were already like graduated.
Yeah. So yeah, I did. I just stopped going to school. I stopped even going to the continuation school. And it was probably almost towards the end of the school year anyways. So I was kind of bummed that I didn't graduate. My parents were bummed that I didn't graduate. But other than that, I was just like, yeah, I was already like, we started playing shows and we started to garner a small following, even around Sacramento at the time. And we practiced almost every day. And we just had fun. We were right by the river, so we swam like all summer.
Oh,
We were just
wow.
swimming and like, yeah, it was like the time of our lives, really, like making music. Yeah,
And did Abe come up with the name Deftones?
Stefan did.
Oh, Stefan did. Okay.
Yeah, and we were going to play one of our first shows, and we had to buy tickets it was like one of those things, pay to play kind of thing, but where
Yes.
we buy all the tickets, and then we bought the tickets for $1 a piece from the promoter. And then we can sell them for $3, so we can make a couple bucks off each ticket. But we didn't end up doing that. We ended up just giving away to our friends at school and whatever, so we can have a packed first
Yeah.
show. And we were like, well, we need a band name if we're going to play a show. So Stephan said, oh, we're going to be called Deftones. And I was like, okay. So then Abe wrote it on the ticket, but he didn't even know how to spell it. So we spelled it like DAF tones, whatever, right?
Oh,
we spelled it. So we
Okay.
gave all the tickets away, and he's like, no, that's not how you spell it. Whatever. We're like, oh, it's all like Def, like, like the rap. Like
Yeah, like Def Jam
right?
or whatever.
Yes. So I was like, oh, okay. So like, yeah, it wasn't anything that was like well thought out or other than just, Stephan said that's the name of our band. We said, okay.
It's a great name.
I mean,
Do you like it now?
I don't know. I mean, it's worked, I guess.
It's like
right?
you
But,
probably can't even think of it like
yeah,
objectively.
it's silly. I mean, most band names are silly. There's a lot of silly band names, but you kind of like,
Yeah.
the name takes on its own thing after a while, right? The music is
Yeah.
kind of like whatever, and then you don't really think so much about the name itself.
Who in the band is in charge of like the aesthetics? Like, is there somebody who sort of keeps an eye on that, or is it a collective thing? Like, as far as the final album covers, the actual font of the band name has always been super cool. Is there one of you who is kind of like that guy?
I'm pretty much the one that is like in the trenches with all that stuff. But everybody sees it. I never do anything with that. Everybody at least like, say, hey, what do you guys think about this? And then everybody's pretty easygoing and they trust me, which is rad.
Cool.
But it's myself. And then there's a guy at Warner Brothers who has been working with us since the White Pony album by the name of Frank Maddox. So him and I like get together and brainstorm, and like he's really good with graphic art and photography. And so, yeah, we come up with random stuff, and then we just sort of start like brainstorming. And
Do you enjoy that part of it?
I do, I really do. From everything from our t-shirt designs to our content. So when we play our live shows now, we have like these huge LED screens behind us, whatever. So there's like different content that goes on during the songs, and then like some of it's iMag, which is basically like the live feed of us on stage in the crowd, but like we throw filters on that kind of stuff, whatever, and just the color palettes, everything. Like I'm just like really, that kind of stuff is fun for me to do.
Yeah, I've seen like still shots of it, and there's like pink, like a woman's face.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I saw people on Reddit trying to figure out where those images come from.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I research and find, like archive.org is one site that I've been going on for years and years and years, and it's just like all this like old archival footage of stuff, whatever. Some old movies, like I like to find like old, like rare, stuff, and imagery and like sonics, like those two things to me, like I love marrying those things together. Whether it's like, I mean, when I listen to music, a lot of times I'll see images, and vice versa. I'll like look at an image sometimes, and I'll kind of hear music. So
Wow, really?
marrying those two things is always fun.
Wow. And you've done some scoring recently, right? Some movie scoring or show scoring?
I've done some of it. I did like this Hulu thing once. I've done yeah, but it's something that I want to do more of. I haven't
Yeah.
done anything recently, but I love I'm really into soundscapes
Yeah.
and
That seems like
um
something that you'd be really, really good at.
it still takes, I mean, you have to know what you're doing. It's hard. Like coming up with the ideas, to me, that's the easy part. But like actually doing it, I definitely need help with that kind of the technical side of things. And then again, it's like musically, I'm not trained professionally. I don't understand theory. I understand some. I'm trying to learn more, but that's kind of been my goal lately. Actually, especially as I get older, is just working on piano, playing piano, taking lessons, playing guitar, learning chords, tunings, everything. Just that's kind of where I find fun now,
Yeah.
learning stuff like that.
Yeah. I heard Stefan saying that, I guess, while making private music, he has type 2 diabetes and he started talking about it. But because of the illness, you had to do more of the guitar parts.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, it's crazy because I didn't. I knew something. We all knew that something was going on with him at the time. Whatever, he was like very lethargic, like during the writing sessions, where he was there, he was present, but he was just like he just seemed run down, and like we'd start working on stuff, and he'd kind of come in, and he just seemed like very slow. And it was hard sometimes because I would take it as like we got in a couple arguments a couple times where I was like, dude, like, what's wrong with you? Do you like not want to be here? Like, I would just ask him. And then he would get mad at me, be like, what are you talking about? And I'd be like, how could you ask me if I want to be here? I'm here. And I'm like, yeah, I know you're here, but like, you don't seem interested in what's going on. He's like, and he would get mad at me for asking him that. But everybody else was thinking it, but no one else was asking him
Yeah.
it. So then he'd get mad at me for like confronting him about it. But we soon realized that, man, maybe something's going on with his health. And then we were playing Coachella, maybe, I don't know, a few months after that, one of those sessions. And we got off stage and he just like came up to all of us and he was like, you guys, I'm really sorry that like I played so bad. And honestly, I didn't really realize it. I noticed that he was a little sloppier than usual, but he was like, yo, he's like, I was like having a hard time standing up. He's like, and
Oh,
my hand wasn't like doing what, wasn't like responding to like playing these songs.
wow.
And so I was like, yo, I was like, you need to go figure out what's going on with you. And he's been one of those people who have always tried to self-diagnose himself, like, or go on YouTube and like be like, oh, well, this is what's wrong with me. And I'm like, dude, no, you need to go to the doctor. And no one really likes to go to the doctor. I get it, right? It's like, sometimes it's like scary too, right?
Yes.
Especially if you feel like something's wrong with you. You don't want to hear, you know what I mean? But you gotta know, right? So
Yeah.
so eventually he faced up and he went, and then like, and then I just like, you just watched his whole, like, him just change. It was like, once he knew what was wrong with him, then he was like, okay. And then he started to figure out the tools of it to deal with it. And now he's like, he's an obsessive person where it's like anything he gets into, whether it's like anything, just like he gets into, he gets obsessed with it. So
Yeah.
like now it's his health that he's obsessed with. So like
Nice.
we share a bus together, and he every night he's like has this like his sugar monitor like thing on. He's just
Good.
like look at numbers, and he's like, oh, look at my thing is spiked here and it's blah blah blah. And I notice if I eat this, if I, and this whatever. So he's just like he's excited about it. And so like I just engage with him about it. And it's like I'm just seeing him like his like life come back into him, like physically and like mentally, like he's just like awakening because he, it's a real positive thing that I'm happy with. But
That's awesome.
back to what you were saying about as far as the writing stuff. So like during that time, I didn't realize that I was doing that. It was more or less like, okay, well, we're here and we're just going to keep busy. So
Yeah.
if he wasn't engaging, I would just be like, okay, here's an idea. Come on, Abe, let's go. Boom, boom, boom. And then we just start working on stuff. But before you knew it, we had like almost an album's worth of material that where a lot of it he didn't spearhead because of what he was going through, whatever.
Right.
So in hindsight, yes, there was a lot more, I think, where I picked up the slack on whatever. But I enjoy doing it too. I mean, I love writing music and I love playing with Abe and the other
Yeah.
guys. So, and it wasn't like a thing where I wasn't mad about it and he wasn't. Now, I mean, honestly, it took him a while because he was, I think before he knew what was going on with him, whatever, he was like, and he's always kind of maybe been a way where he's never really told me that, but it was weird when we did the Zane Lowe interview. He, in the middle of the interview, he's like, I just want to say that, Chino like really stepped up and he really like came through and blah, blah. And he's like, And that was the first time he ever like complimented me or like
Oh,
or
wow.
acknowledged that, like, you know, all the hard work that I put into the writing and stuff like that, whatever. So like I kind of got like a little, you know, teared up a little bit. I mean,
Sweet.
funny the camera panned away from me because you can't see me there, but I'm kind of there with my mouth open, just like, whoa, like thank you for acknowledging that.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it was like a, you know, sentimental moment between friends.
Yeah, that was a cool interview. I like that. It was just cool seeing you all together. When you're in the studio, are you sort of, I don't know if you saw the Beatles Get Back documentary.
Oh yeah, great. It was long, but it was like worth watching, especially if you're a musician, like watching how they work and their dynamic between those guys. It was like,
It turned them
it's
into real
insane.
people for me. Like, I didn't think of them as real
Yeah.
people. It's like, I understood their personalities and how they work together. And I had no idea, like, seeing Paul's role, how he stepped up and he totally was
Mhm.
like the taskmaster and he's like the band leader.
It's so rad when you see him in there, like George in there, just like showing his riffs and stuff too. And you're just
Yeah.
like, whoa, like, I don't know. I just love watching that because
Me too.
it's pretty funny because like most bands are the same. Like we all, like there's so many cliches, like we all do the same shit. And like relationship wise and like the kind of fight for, you know, this like underlying fight for like, you know, who's kind of steering the ship sometimes, right?
Yes.
And there's like with the Beatles, especially, there's a lot of great songwriting amongst all of them individually, right? So it's
Yeah.
like how they made that work and how like you got to pick your battles, and then you have to
Yeah.
sometimes like not say what you're thinking, and then sometimes also like tiptoe around certain things because you know that might trigger somebody or this or that, whatever. Try to get your ideas heard, but like not dictate what everybody should be doing. Let people come up with their own parts, and yeah, it's a part of being in a band. It's like, you know, it's like
Yeah.
it's definitely like it's psychological like work, you know what I mean?
But I was thinking about that, like picturing you now in the sessions for this new album. Like, are you sort of like the Paul McCartney of the group?
I don't know about that.
Like, as far as you're like getting everybody in order, like organizing the chaos.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we have a producer there that especially with this record, Nick Raskulinix, who did this record. He also did a couple of other records. But one of the main reasons why, aside from him being a great producer, but one of the main reasons for hiring him for this record specifically was for him to take on that role, you know, kind of take some of that off my plate because, you know, as much as the band does trust me on certain things, whatever, I still don't want to be the person that's always kind of dictating like where we're going, what we're doing, and okay, we're working on this song now or whatever, blah blah. And a lot of times they just act, like when we were at soundcheck, they're like, okay, what song are we playing? I'm like, I don't know, like what song do you want to play? Like I don't ask me all the time, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to, and I don't get mad about it, but it's just like, but it is very helpful to have someone else there in the room that sort of can just like be the sort of ringleader, right? And I can just work on my part. But yeah, I mean, I think especially too, like I've had like 3 years of sobriety and just like a very clear-minded now and focused. So like it feels natural for me sometimes to like make an order of things and like kind of keep track of what's going on, whatever. Like my memory is like really crisp right now. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Sharp. And so I'm able to remember things really well. And like if I'm working with Abe on a drum part, whatever, like I can like literally like 3 minutes ago you played this, whatever, blah, blah. And he'll be like, whoa, and I'll remember, you know, things like, or maybe, you know, 5 years ago I would have just not remembered. So it's cool to use those things, right? Especially when we're working in work mode.
Yeah, totally. And it keeps you sharp. I mean, that kind of stuff is just important for overall health, for brain health as we get older.
Totally.
You know, now that you're sober, you strike me as someone who's sort of romantic and dreamy and emotional. And I don't know if I'm just saying that because of the type of music I know that you were into as a kid, but
that's actually a lot of it. I mean, honestly, I mean, I'm just like a sucker for like all the stuff that I loved when I was a teenager.
yeah.
And I still like look back to that time in my life as being like, I can smell what the air was like and what like, I'm just like really in tune with that time of my life. And I reflect upon that time of my life a lot. And, you know, what's when I fell in love with music. That's when I fell in love. That's probably one of the first times I had a crush or this or that, whatever. All those things are like really like milestones of like the human experience. So like I always draw from that.
Would it help you with the substances to like get deeper into those feelings, or can you still go there now being sober?
No, you know what? I thought it was like a big lie. I think I kind of fooled myself into believing that it was, right.
Yeah.
But just being creative in general, like you soon figure out that like, yeah, I didn't need all that. I mean, not that I didn't make good music, like, you know, being altered here and there, but and a lot of great music has been made that way, or with being influenced by mind altering substance, whatever. But the fact that, you know, you go through your whole life, because I was pretty much since high school, I've been, you know, like I was telling you earlier, just drinking beers and whatever. I never made music, you know, without that. So it was scary at first, right? To think that, can I do this? Is it possible? And then once you do it, you're like, oh, of course it is. And
yeah,
then
that's good.
all the clarity, like I was talking about earlier, comes along. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm even like, I can do this and I can do this. And you just start to get, it's like everything's more in focus, and then you can make sense of things a lot easier. But yeah, I mean, I still get lost though too. I get lost in a good melody and a good, you know, story. I mean, I watch rom-coms. That's one thing I do still, like on the bus every night when I go, whatever. I just like romantic stories too.
What's the last rom-com you've seen that's really good?
I mean, I like dumb movies too. I like
Yeah.
Proposal, stuff like that. Like I love some J-Lo movies. I love
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway movies. I'll watch like all this, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's
Yeah,
awesome.
I don't know why. I just like those movies that kind of like turn off part of my brain, I guess, whatever, and just like, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I want to ask you, because I know, like, as when you were a kid growing up, it seems like with the band, you all of a sudden just made the jump and became a singer.
Mm-hmm.
Did you sing at all as a kid? Like, were you in choir? Were you like singing around the house? Like, was it unexpected? Like, were your parents surprised that all of a sudden you were a singer in a band?
I think so. Yeah, especially because I was shy too, like pretty shy when I was young. So like, I would sing along to records, but just to myself, right? Not in front of people. So it was kind of out of nowhere. And really, I wanted to play the drums. To me, that seemed like the funnest thing ever, just like bang on these drums.
Yeah.
I really love rhythm, and I still do. But yeah, I met Abe when I was in junior high school, and he was already a brilliant drummer, like, you know, at 12 years old, or how old you were.
Wow.
So, so I needed to find something to do if I wanted to be in the band with everybody. So yeah, Stefan, actually, he's the one who was like, "No, you're going to be the singer." And I was like, "Okay." And he actually said, he's like, I heard you singing along with Danzig record or something, whatever, before. He said, "You can sing." And I was like, "I can?" It's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So it was like kind of cool that, like, you know, he made me believe that I could sing, and I really couldn't. I mean, it was really like trial by error, a lot of it, you know, and it kind of still is. I mean, I still don't really know what I'm doing. I just kind of, I don't know, I guess just figure it out as I'm going still to this day.
Have you ever taken any lessons, like vocal lessons or anything like that?
I did try at one point, and it was just super awkward. I probably should have stuck with it, but it was one of those things where, like, I didn't like and maybe it was the teacher, because, like, you know, just probably like therapy. It's like, you know, you have one bad experience, and then you can't say that it's all bad. You know, maybe it was just the actual thing, but it was like, it just felt really awkward to me. It was like, it's like they were trying to teach me how to sing a certain way that just didn't feel like natural to me.
Yeah.
And I've always sort of just responded like sonically to what the music is kind of, you know, dishing out at me, and this is what I'm responding with this sound. So like, if I was thinking too hard about it, I'd be like, well, it's not even fun. I don't feel like I'm naturally wanting to do. So that was my excuse for not going back, whatever. But I'm sure there are techniques that I should probably not too old to learn. I mean, I did take from that. I did take a lot of these like kind of warm up exercises and things like that are important that I still use.
What do you do to protect your voice? I know at one point you had like some serious vocal issues just from screaming on stage. Like,
well, to be transparent, I think it was some screaming, but a lot of just like living wild too, like, you know, drugs and alcohol and whatever, and like not sleeping, and, you know, and so I think I just liked whatever. But I've noticed like the biggest thing for me is like proper sleep, lots of fluids. I drink a lot of water, tea, and there's really nothing I can do as far as like, because I do scream and I do sing, and I do it straight for, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know, a night. And physically like you have to rest. So it's like that's the main thing. It's like after the show, I'm usually quiet. I usually go on the bus and I don't talk much.
Yeah.
And I really love getting good. I sleep. And now that I don't drink, like I sleep really well. And so yeah, waking up and feeling invigorated, and then kind of just like, do a little warm up. I warm up in the shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do to sort of like get yourself in the headspace and just like physically get ready to be on stage and just to give all that energy?
Yeah. So music is always something that's like gears me up. So I listen to music, and then I also make playlists every day, which is really fun. So there's like a 35-minute time where they change over from the band before us to when we go on. So I make a 35-minute playlist that plays in my dressing room, but it also plays in the venue, so the crowd hears what I'm hearing backstage.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's kind of neat because I kind of feel like it maybe puts us all in the same sort of frame of mind before like the show.
Totally.
And it changes. It's always like a pretty wild mix of stuff, whatever. But they tell me like 3, 2, 1, play. I'll play it in my dressing room, and it'll be playing in the venue. And then I get in the shower right then. The shower sort of just like regenerates me, I think, a little bit. The steam helps with my voice. Yeah. And then I get dressed, brush my teeth, and then ready. I'll do some push-ups or whatever.
Yep.
I have a little rolling a foam roller.
Oh, yeah.
So I stretch on that.
Nice.
Yeah, just kind of maybe some jumping jacks and just kind of like hype myself up. That's pretty much it.
And then what do you do when you get off stage? Like, how do you come down?
Same thing. Shower right away. I think the shower invigorates me before the show. Then obviously when I get off stage, I'm soaking wet usually. So just get in the shower and then, put on dry clothes. And usually they bring me food in because I don't eat usually like, I don't know, 4 to 5 hours before we go on stage because that's weird. But I'm never hungry when I get off stage too. So
Yeah.
they bring me food in and I'm always just like, just take it to the bus. I'll eat it later. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But yeah, I usually call home and check in. And then I've been going pretty much straight, to the bus. I'm pretty
Yeah.
boring, man. I don't like, it's not as crazy as, at least it was at one time, right?
Yeah.
I don't drink anymore. So it's like, I don't have the need to like go out and socialize too much.
Yes. Are you like peopled out at that point? Like, do you want to be by yourself?
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, I really do enjoy like the silence of just like, being on the bus. And it's just on our bus now, it's just myself, Stefan, and then our assistant and our photographer. So it's just 4 of us on there. So it's really quiet.
Nice.
Yeah. Watch movies, play video games, kind of just really, really relax.
When you call home and you talk to family, like if you talk to your wife or whatever, like, do you tell her about the show or do you just talk about regular stuff?
Yeah. I mean, she always asks me, how was your show? And like it's like, when somebody asks, how are you? You always say, oh, fine. Even if there's there's stuff going on, I always just say, oh, it was fine.
Yeah.
I won't get into too many details of it. The shows have been great, but sometimes there'll be a little like an audio thing or something will go haywire. Like last night we were playing a show and there's a few songs that I play guitar on that I use the RF mic on and it wasn't turned on. So like the first verse, I'm like singing into it and I'm like, oh, there's nothing coming out of this. So then, Tech runs on stage and he goes and he like turns the mic on. Okay, there you go. It wasn't turned on. But so like
it's like, come on, dude, 101. You gotta turn it on.
But I think it was one of the things where like I think years and years ago I probably would have like lost it, where I think my patience is like a little better these days where I'm just like, okay, shit happens and kind of just laugh it off and I think people understand. I think probably back in the day I would have like maybe felt embarrassed or like just mad, exactly like that's 101, what the hell, like got mad about it, whatever. But it's like it's a mistake, and it was like the first half of the verse was not there, but
and it's probably like so loud in there anyway, like maybe people don't really notice,
Oh, I think they realized.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they definitely realized, but
that's part of the live experience, though. It's nice to see like bloopers and stuff like that.
There's proof that we don't use playback. How about that?
Going back to the Deftones album covers, would you say are your top 5 favorite album covers from Deftones?
From Deftones, I like the Koino Yokan cover, which was a photo taken by the artist Futura.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like we had talked to him about designing an album cover for us, and then we did a couple different things, but ended up just gravitating towards this photo of his, which was like he took it, it's in this hotel somewhere in China or something, But the picture itself, like you can't really tell. It almost looks like outer space. It's just like it's really like you have to stare at it, whatever, and kind of figure out what. But it's the actual place, and it's like I think it's a view through this. It's glass through towards an elevator or something. But it looks kind of otherworldly, and it's just like it's pretty, and I like that cover a lot. What else? What other album cover do I like?
What about Around the Fur?
Man, honestly, like now I can appreciate it, whatever, but like, and it's so weird that like even like as far as like our merchandise goes, like that t-shirt with that album cover on it, like is like one of the biggest sellers, like so many, but it's such a random photo. It makes no sense at all. And it was honestly just like our photographer, the guy who was doing all our photos for that record, this guy named Rick Cossack, and he was from this magazine, Big Brother, it was a skate magazine, and they ended up going on to do like Jackass and all that stuff, whatever. So he's like in all the Jackasses and stuff like that, but he was like the videographer, photographer, and he was a good friend of ours, and he came to Seattle when we were recording that record, and he took all like a bunch of photos of us, and then just photos of us hanging out like outside of the studio. So with that record, we were like all like 22 maybe. We were still pretty young, and like when I look back at that record, it was like I don't remember hardly any of actually like recording the record. I remember everything outside of it, like just like we were just like wild, like out every night, partying, driving around, listening to the roughs from the day, and like that album cover was like after we had like this jacuzzi at our apartment, the same one that where me and Haven and Steph lived, where we have the answering machine thing.
Oh.
There was a hot tub downstairs, whatever. So every night we'd like, at the end of the night, after all our bar hopping, we'd go with everybody we'd meet from the bar. Let's go back to our place. We're going to go to the hot tub. And that photo was just like from a random night there, whatever. And it was like, it got mixed in with all the other photos from the thing. So when they came and spreading all the photos out for the album cover, that picture was there. And it was literally just like everybody pointed at that one.
It's such a cool photo.
Yeah. I mean, it's very 90s too. It's like
so 90s.
About it. So 90s. So it like really represents that time. It's kind of funny.
Do you know who that girl is?
I mean, kind of. She was a friend who we befriended while we were there in Seattle. And I did see a thing the other day. It was cool that she was, they showed like, then and now. So it was her, like now, she's probably our age now too, like, maybe late 40s, early 50s. And she's holding up the album cover and she's like smiling, whatever. This is me, you know what I mean? Whatever, when she was young as well. But who knew, right? It's like that, like even when she was asked, hey, we want to use this for the album cover, but then thinking that like 30 something years later, whatever it is, that like that would be such an iconic photo with like t-shirts and all these like teenagers now wearing that picture on their t-shirt.
It is very 90s. That's such a good call. Like it's kind of like has like that Kids, like the movie Kids, that aesthetic, or even like pre-American apparel.
Totally. And it has but like the fisheye kind of lens effect, whatever. So it's like, it's very like kind of like Beastie Boys-y kind of like sort of like 90s kind of like, that flair.
Do you ever think back on those times, like the debaucherous times, or just like, oh my God, I can't believe I survived that?
Totally. I had a lot of good time. I mean, we had fun. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, we were kids. We were probably doing what we should have been doing, right? I mean, for the most part, we were like in a rock band, like, touring the world, like going places and doing different things. Like I was out, like walking the streets in Paris or whatever, 3:00 in the morning, going into, different bars and meeting random people and doing whatever. It was like, I mean, like, I was having fun and it was my youth and whatever. But, at some point, it's like, I realized that I'm not one of those people that can just like have a little bit of fun and then just like, go to sleep. Like I just like, I'm having fun. Let's keep going. And that's, I think, what like the definition of like someone who's an alcoholic, right? So I had to learn that. I don't denounce like AA. I think AA is great for people who especially works for. I don't do it, but I don't live under the pretense of that. Like, I'll never have a drink again either. I think that's kind of helped me stay sober too, is because like I don't feel like oh my God, I'm never going to have a drink. And like, I honestly like want to be in my 70s, sitting on my porch, as an older man, drinking a beer, petting my dog or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I can foresee that at some point in my future. But I just think like right now where I'm at, I feel good. I'm on tour. I'm out here. Like, I like doing this sober. I like this part of life and doing it. But so I don't look at it as like and I'll be all thing and, whatever, this and that, whatever. But I just know it works now and I feel good. So I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Living through what you've lived through, experience what you've experienced as a father, were you like extra protective because you know what's out there? Or were you sort of like let your kids experience things the way that you experience things?
I mean, luckily that my kids haven't tested me that bad. I mean, I have good kids. I'm so lucky for that. Especially my two older sons who, they like, and if you talk about like the parts that I'm probably ashamed about now is whatever. It was like, when my kids were coming of age, like when I used to live in Sacramento, I used to have I had a bar in my house. I had a tiki bar downstairs, which was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah.
But it was like, every night, like my friends would be there, we'd be playing records, just sitting at the bar, just drinking, whatever. And my kids would be upstairs, and I would like, what do you guys want for dinner? Oh, we want Chinese food. Okay, I'd order them Chinese food. They want a new video game, just buy them a new video game and kind of whatever. And they just kind of like, spend a lot of hours like on their own, just like, doing the same thing as like upstairs, hanging out with their friends, playing video games, eating, whatever they wanted and whatever. And now look, in retrospect, it's being like, man, it's like, and I was busy with my friends downstairs, still like living like I was on tour kind of thing, right? So now in retrospect, I can't get those times back with my kids when they were at a certain age where I wish I would have spent more time with them, right?
But you were young though, when you
I
had
was
your first
young.
kids,
I mean, I was 20 years old when my first son was born, so I was pretty young myself.
Yeah.
But even in spite of that, like, I'm so lucky that my kids like have grown up and have been very responsible and are like upstanding citizens, and they work and they hustle still, and they don't expect like, just they're good. They're good-hearted kid. And yeah, my daughter's super smart. She's like she's in college, and
She's in college?
yeah, she's a junior in college. She's going to be 21 next month too. So like
Wow.
now they're gone, because everybody's like, oh, you're an empty nester. I'm like, Nick, I still have dogs. Like I can't just do whatever I want whenever I want. Like the dogs are like a lot.
How many dogs do you have?
So I have two, little pugs, and they're rescues, and they're awesome. But yeah, they're like a lot of work, and but I love it.
Yeah.
Maybe deep down, I don't want to be an empty nester. I think that like having something to be responsible for like all the time is like something that I need.
Yeah. Have you guys started working on the next album yet?
Oh, hell no. No, I don't know.
Really?
I mean, the record just came out like 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes there's like stuff left over, and
No, we do though. We do have some stuff left over, and my idea would be maybe if there's like a soundtrack opportunity or something like that. I think it'd be fun to go back and finish those things up if for a specific thing or something like that. But as far as like going in to make like a complete new record, I mean that's that's a long process.
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy just like not doing music and playing. I started playing video games again, which is kind of neat. I didn't allow myself to play video games while I was working on music because I just feel like if I have time to do this, I should definitely have time to do what my job is. So
what games do you play?
right now I'm just I'm playing these Star Wars like sort of this platform game, Fallen Order. I think it's been out for a while. There's a new one now but I want to beat the first one first. So it's just kind of like an adventure game. You go in, there's like puzzles and stuff you kind of got to figure out, which is kind of cool because I feel like I'm still using my brain and figuring things out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I'm just like get to be a little kid again, and just like it's not music. As much as I love doing music, sometimes it's like it's kind of healthy, I think, to like do something that's not music.
I was watching an old interview with you. I think it was from '98, and it was from some like Dutch TV show. Anyway, you were in a pool hall and you were talking about the thing that was most important to you was that the band had longevity.
Okay.
And you were like, you didn't like care about the sound or the genre that you were placed in. The only thing that was important was longevity. And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, so you achieved it. Like here you are, how many years later? It's 2025 and you guys are bigger than ever. Does that feel like a miracle in your mind, or does it feel like it was written, like no wonder?
It definitely feels, I don't know, a miracle. It's crazy to think about. It really is. I mean, it all happened so gradual though. I mean, obviously a lot more happened over the last few years kind of without our doing, but like our career in itself, like we were never like one day just kind of going and then the next day we were the biggest band in the world. We've always sort of been gradually growing as a band. Yes, we've had some like lulls in our career for sure, but to look in retrospect now, for sure, it's like, whoa, like, you know, last night we're playing a sold out arena and I'm looking out there and everybody's holding up their camera lights or their phone lights, whatever. And I'm like mesmerized by how many, because you really get to notice when they do that, like how many people are up
Yeah.
200 yards away, like, you know, in a top back seat at a concert. And you're just like, this is insane. And seeing the demographic be all over the board, across the board, parents and their kids and you know, so no, even if I did say that back then, I definitely didn't expect it to come to fruition. So I'm like bugged out by it for sure. It's awesome though.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And have fun tonight at the show.
Nice talking to you.
Check the episode description for a playlist of our favorite Deftones tracks, along with their new album, Private Music. And don't forget to visit youtube.com/Broken Record Podcast to watch all of our video interviews. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Broken Record Pod. You can follow us on Twitter at Broken Record. Broken Record is produced and edited by Leah Rose with marketing help from Eric Sandler and Jordan McMillan. Our engineer is Ben Tolliday. Broken Record is a production of Pushkin Industries. And if you like this show, please remember to share, rate, and review us on your podcast app. Our theme music's by Kenny Beats. I'm Justin Richmond.